Big buzz thing nowadays is AI, and so I think that's going to take automation to the next level.
How long have you been at Wunderlich Malek?
It'll be 10 years in October this time. I was with them for 2 or 3 years previously.
5 years last month.
20 plus years.
I've been with Wunderlich Malek since 2010.
I've been with Wunderlich Malek for almost 2 years. First things first, you have to understand what the customer's problems are. And sometimes, in my experience, they don't know what the problem is, and you have to ask insightful questions. You have to listen to their answers and truly understand what the end user or the customer is trying to achieve. There's no one good answer to anything, but understanding where the customer is coming from, where they want to be, and how they want to get there is all part of answering that question. Right? That's the only way I know to do it.
Generally, it depends on how, or at least what system it's in. If it's a system that I'm familiar with, I like to just poke around and try and find the solution that way. If it's a system I'm unfamiliar in, I normally approach my colleagues that are more familiar with it. If nobody's familiar with it, then I approach Google, Stack Overflow, the normal places you'd go when you have a programming challenge.
Well, I think it's part of our culture, and that's really what I look for. I look for people that want to solve problems. Really, whether it's entropy or waste or whatever, they see a problem and they feel compelled to solve it.
Right now I go in to talk to a customer and normally I have an understanding of what they need or what they want. But I now, with my experience, I can go in and look at a facility and say, hey, here's all the things Wunderlich Malek can do for you versus what you need. I present the entire company, all of our capabilities, and from that conversation I learn more about what their needs are, and then I direct the right technical person to help solve it.
Listen to them. That's the only way to find out what they need, what their requirements are, and then kind of go through all different options and then review it with them and kind of work with them, work with the customer.
Loyalty, I think we're loyal to each other, we're loyal to our customers. I think that loyalty comes in dedication to our work. And maybe if I could change it, I would say integrity, because that's really what it is.
Entrepreneurial. We're a very entrepreneurial company. If we have an idea and we think it's going to work, Neil Wunderlich, our president, usually gives us a go-ahead and try it.
Experts. We have over 400 engineers, and we share knowledge with each other, and I think it's just awesome to have that big user community where we can exchange ideas and help each other out.
Culture. I think the culture of an ESOP organization empowers the employees to make really good decisions about how they do the things they do, and part of that is the culture of how do I solve a customer's problems, is to not assume I know what the customer's problem is.
Bottled water that you have in your hand. I basically make that water by automating how it's treated and deliver that to customers.
I would say that we're automation engineers, and if they asked another question, I would say that we use computers and technology to automate manufacturing and treatment processes, basically making smarter factories, smarter processing, smarter cities.
In our world, really what we do is we automate everything. So a tank, a pressure, a flow, a valve, or a digital thing on, off, a switch, a position, open or closed, and we bring that information up so an operator can run the facility. Now, as things have become less expensive from a chip standpoint, so we bring all that information up. That's our current role. We do it across every vertical market. So today we're in water wastewater, tomorrow we're in mining, food and beverage, we're at the national labs. We do theme parks, so we have a number of people that are writing software for large attractions. A lot of fun. It's a great career to have. I really enjoy it.
I think my job is, I would call myself an advanced efficiency expert. I take the wealth of knowledge and understanding of process and efficiencies and continuous improvement and try to implement those smart standard processes to the customer so that they continuously get better over time. I really have a hard time putting in something that has no value. and I try to add value to everything that I do when I engage with a customer.
Generally say that we maintain a specific process and then explain that that might be, a wet well, it might be a temperature, anything that you need controlled in an atmosphere, that you need a specific atmosphere in order to achieve a goal, then we do that.
I think we're going to see a lot more distributed computing. I think we're going to see a lot of things on the so-called edge. What we call the edge now just won't be the edge anymore. And we'll see a lot of VR stuff and AR stuff. I think somebody's already calling it XR because it's a combination of VR and AR.
I think that you're going to see a lot more AI, and I that it's a buzzword, but I think that you'll start to see more intelligent or learning, like machine learning. There have been products that have kind of done a preliminary machine learning, and those are good products for the technology that we have now. I think you're going to start to see more self-learning and hesitate to say self-programming, but self-adjusting.
Less configuration.
Yeah, for sure. Just if you look at, for instance, Wonderware, which is what I'm familiar with, going from 2012 to 2014 and then to 2017, just the features that they added made it easier for us to maintain, easier for us to upgrade, easier for us to import, and then easier for us to configure. And every iteration of that seems to add a couple more features that make it easier for us and also make it easier for the end user.
It's going through a transformation. In 20 years we won't have the internal combustion engine will be gone. It'll be all e-vehicles and autonomous vehicles. Virtual reality will be huge. Our kids will be playing games that are just like Ready Player One. Cost of chips going down, the amount of information on a chip is going way up. So in 20 years, just watch the movie Ready Player One, and you're probably not going to, your grandkids won't have a driver license. They'll have an autonomous vehicle driving them.
So the big buzz thing nowadays is AI, and so I think that's going to take automation to the next level.
So I guess it's kind of an interesting dichotomy. You have consumers that embrace cloud technology in their own personal lives but are slow to adopt cloud technology in their professional lives.
Why is that?
I don't know. I've got all my financial information out on the web, all my decisions, my credit card information, it's all out on the web, and I trust it, right? But when it comes to adopting technology, the industry tends to lag. And certain industries are way advanced and other industries lag behind significantly.
So in 20 years, you see more of that industry that's lagging being, fully digitally transformed, or they cease to exist.
Well, right, and it's all going to depend on what 20 years brings to the country, right? There's always the threat of cyber warfare, and you got satellites up in space that are being hacked, and you hear hacking every day. Hacking doesn't seem to affect the common user. Even when you get a letter saying your data might have been compromised, you still trudge forward personally with the use of that technology. But if something happens within an industry like critical infrastructure or something that could really do some serious damage, I wonder if it's ever going to be fully implemented and fully adopted. Just because of the risk.
Nuclear like kind of fusion or fission technology, like our nuclear reactors, once we had like several meltdowns, we stopped innovating that technology. We're like, okay, this is, we don't want to keep improving this because there's dangers to it, and look at that, we could be having a lot more power coming from nuclear, but we're only on like the 4th generation of the technology.
It's perception, right? I would think that if I could have a dream for 20 years out, I would love for industry to gather their data, analyze their data, benchmark their data, improve their processes, become more viable as organizations using the data to be more to be more proactive, to understand their businesses better, to make more money using the technology. You don't have to give out your trade secrets over the air. Information is information. You can get information from anywhere. How can that damage you? If I could inspire industry to just accept the tenets of continuous improvement and value-added solutions, I would be a happy man, because ultimately at the end of the day, what's good for business is good for consumers. And the information, the technology is here, ready to go today.
Wonderlickville's everywhere.
Wonderlickville is everywhere. That's absolutely right.